each other in order to avoid any possibilities of hijinks.
Exactly. Let's see. No. Well, as they're getting started, may as well go ahead and take a quick moment. Don't want to dwell on this too long, but we'll take a quick moment to talk about, well, basically how the game works. It's pretty simple. There are only 3 buttons beyond the D-pad. One for jumping, one for dashing, and one for climbing walls. Really, the crux of this game is momentum. Because this game has uncapped momentum, there are a lot of different ways that you can preserve and increase it. So that's basically where most of the speed tricks are going to be coming from. As you can see, for example, with these bunny hops that they're doing right here, that's mostly to do with the fact that that hopping very quickly off of the ground will preserve your momentum, which is a very important part of the speed tricks that you'll be seeing as we have the dash now beyond the prologue.
Yep. Most of the speed tech in this game is based off the dash, dashing and then jumping to get that dash momentum into the air where you're slowed down a little bit less. And both players through the prologue without any deaths, and now just about to enter Chapter 1, the Forsaken City. Mickeynow starting right away with some dash jumps. Falling into that pit. Quick recovery. Deaths in this game can come fast and often, and the trick is to just take your death, take the L, and then get right back on the horse. There's interesting, DukeFireBird going a bit faster than Mickeynow, because Mickeynow is trying really difficult strat there.
He's going for something, but yeah, eventually he kind of gave in and went for the simpler strats. Ooh, that's very nice. That's a nice
reverse hyper dash off that corner to get over those spikes. DukeFireBird accidentally set off that zipper before he was ready for it, so he had to wait for it to reset. So Mickeynow, despite his mistakes in the beginning, has already overtaken him.
Yeah, I have to wonder if Mickeynow is kind of taking into account the PB differential, or he may not have even looked at it. But I have to wonder if he may be taking it into mind and using it as an opportunity to try out some new stuff toward the beginning.
It's not impossible.
Like trusting in his consistency toward the end.
There's also the likelihood that Mickeynow is gaining some case of the race nerves right now.
Yeah,
I definitely experienced that a lot in Chapter 1 myself. Getting a lot worse times than I usually do in this chapter.
Yeah, you also have to. You might have to. Ooh, that's a very nice.
Mickeynow not getting his dash back like he expected to do, but he managed to use the backup of a double spike jump, which is a bit trickier than the normal strat. So
that's
nicely done for rolling with that.
Yeah, the other thing to consider is that both of these players are so far 0-2 in their respective groups. So I could imagine that there's possibly some frustration involved in the, maybe perhaps not super likely, but there is the possibility of some frustration involved in two prior losses going into this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the situation was as to who they raced before, but one of them is going to get their first win now.
Yeah, that's certainly true. That is how this game works.
So Mickeynow doing some nice extended hypers to skip a lot of the platforming on those screens, and he finishes it off with a cutscene glitch to just save a couple seconds in that cutscene room to teleport himself in the middle of the dream block. So the dream blocks are these things he just activated. You can dash through them. You get your dash back on the other side. Nice diagonal there.
Yeah, those were some tricky lines there.
DukeFireBird also going for these extended hyper strats. He looks a little less comfortable with them. Like, he's not sure how to do it from the entrance of the room, so he's going back through the screen transition. Now he's just trying to do it the casual method, because he failed that a few times.
Yeah, sometimes you just kind of have to settle, especially when you're really not feeling confident in your speed tech, which honestly there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you have to know in this game like when to cut your losses when trying to do a particular strat.
That was weird.
Mickeynow having a little bit of trouble in this room here. He's not getting quite the height he needs. Okay, he got it that time. Let's see. All right. So this battling chase is a bit tricky. She follows on a 3-second delay. Sometimes there are multiple copies. And these two rooms, the last one and this one, require a little bit of backtracking to get those lock switches. Very nicely done on the last room there. That was really fast movement.
Yeah, so we saw something weird happen on Duke's screen. When he skipped the cutscene when Battlein broke out of the mirror, I don't think he got his dash back.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I wonder if he was
expecting that.
I guess maybe he wasn't stuck in the dream block.
Perhaps.
He might have just been just below it. That's definitely happened to me before. Mickeynow is now past the danger of this chapter 2. But he has to go through this long section now where it's pretty difficult to keep your momentum. As we've seen, he's getting caught up on some of the terrain here and some of the springs that kill your momentum. But he does get through it with a full file time of 450, 222 chapter time, which is pretty decent for chapter 2, I've got to say. Yeah,
it's funny. That room and one other room coming up in chapter 3, it's the kind of room that you think that perhaps would trick a lot of people into not practicing it very much, because what? You can't die. Why do I need to practice a room that I can't die in? Well, you can still lose a lot of time to, just getting caught by walls and, like, you can... Basically, there's a lot of time wasted from not being able to maneuver those areas properly.
Yeah. So DukeFireBird having a little bit of spaghetti in that last room, but getting through it without any deaths as well. So nicely done there. He'll be moving through this last section as well. Mickeynow is now up to Chapter 3, the Celestial Resort. And this is where the game definitely starts to get pretty difficult. We have these dust bunnies moving back and forth and around in circles and cycles. So getting around those is a big challenge on this level, especially if you're doing it while moving quickly.
Yeah, less of a concern for speedrunners, I'd say, is the fact that there are a lot of these walls that will basically turn into dust bunnies as you crawl along them, or that can also be the case with the floors and ceilings. You can kind of see the little trails of dust bunnies showing up in certain areas, and that can be a bit of a concern for casual players, maybe less so for speedrunners, but it does definitely have to be worked into the routes. Right.
In speedrunning, we try not to backtrack in any case. There are some cases where it can come up. Ooh, almost missed the key there.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty major time loss.
Right. So, like, if you climb the wall with the dust hairs on it, and then you climb down a little bit, and then climb back up, you can die from that, which might come up, in the Oshiro chase later. But yeah, usually not such a problem.
Yeah, it's just one extra thing to think about. And here's that other room that we were talking about that newer runners may not may not practice as much because there's no danger of dying necessarily. But there's definitely a lot of potential time lost to just, poor maneuvering.
A little bit of a close call by Mickeynow. Mickeynow is now entering his first cleanup section. He's going to clean up the boxes now. This area has some neat tricks in it. Let's see if he's going to go for the spike jump in the next room.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of evidence that Mickeynow might be a little bit more familiar with death cycles in this chapter, because I've seen a couple of rooms where he entered a room and did a strat and then died, and then did the exact same strat and it worked, which I think just has to do with the cycles being different.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Mickeynow getting the nice spike jump in that previous room. It's just a neat little speed tech that lets you skip some of that room. I think he saved time with it because he got it fast enough. Hit his first button, now moving on to the books section. And DukeFireBird getting near the end of the reception area.
Yep. So it's still not too far behind, although the gap does appear to be beginning to widen.
Yes, as often happens in Chapter 3.
Yeah, Chapter 3 definitely is where the run begins for a lot of runners, I'd say. Which is certainly not to say that Chapter 2 and 1 don't have their own perilous points, but Chapter 3 is where they show up a lot more often.
Yeah, it's also very long and kind of a slog. So definitely a big barrier. when you're learning the game. Mickeynow doing quite well here, hitting his third button at around 340 on the chapter timer, which is a pretty good time. Making his way now, he's cleaned up to this whole mess, and he can grab the key and head up to the elevator shaft. DukeFireBird through the reception on his way to that first button. Nice elevator shaft. Looks like he missed an ultra there, but recovered nicely. Hitting these 4 lock switches.
Wow, that's a very nice first try spike wall jump from DukeFireBird.
Oh, very nice. It looks like really understated when you do it, but it's pretty tricky to really get the positioning down.
It's hard. It's hard to do. It takes a few tries when you don't know exactly how to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know how to do it, it could take, like, you know, dozens of tries. Once you start to get it down, it gets a little bit easier, but, you know, for someone with a 1 hour PV, it's a really cool trick to be able to get.
Yeah. Mickeynow took like a little bit of an extra moment in that one room with the key, and honestly, it looked like it paid off. It may have been just kind of a thing that he did to like spend some time to manipulate the cycles.
Yeah, the entrance was that the entrance cycle that he did there? Because that can be pretty hard.
It was the entrance cycle,
really fast.
But he kind of like dropped. He dropped a little bit and waited like just like maybe half a second, and then he was in there without a problem.
Nice. Mickeynow is now in the Oshiro chase, the final part of Chapter 3. So in addition to all the other hazards in this level, we have Angry Mr. Oshiro chasing us from the left. This is one of those rooms where you sometimes see players die because of the dust on the walls, but Mickeynow having no problems there. Doing a little hyper and a bunny hop to get over that first spike a little bit faster. And some nice movement there through the springs and the gaps.
Less important for speedrunners in this chapter. Wow, okay.
Mickeynow,
all right. So Mickeynow just
death there.
Opts for the death cycle in there, probably because he's practiced the death cycle a lot more than the entry cycle.
Yeah, I did that as well when I first learned this level.
You know, it's funny. You expect people to do that a lot. This is the first time I've ever seen someone do it on cast.
I have seen it a couple times before. I definitely used to do it myself before I learned the entrance strat. It's kind of annoying to practice the entrance strat in this level just because of how, you know, practicing works in this game.
Especially because with a room like that, you're going to be dying a lot.
Right.
And even when you don't,
it's chase, you can't like go back to the previous screen to practice the transition.
Yeah, not unless you use, I guess, like
even debug mode. You had to start from the beginning of the previous screen.
Oh goodness,
a little bit of an extra hassle.
Yeah, that
so
does
it's definitely a barrier to practicing. DukeFireBird is about to hit his third bubble here, while Mickeynow starts with Chapter 4. This is the Golden Ridge. We have our main feature here now, which is the wind pushing back against Mickeynow. We also see these bubbles, which are like basically dashes you can do from midair. And we have the clouds, which are like trampolines.
Yeah, the wind can be a little bit annoying, but I'd say with the bubbles and the clouds, Chapter 4 has a tendency to, as a run, be a lot more lively than Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a little bit more ponderous when it comes to those cycles because, you know, you have to navigate through them. And there are still definitely... there are cycles in certain cases to be aware of and a few auto-scrollers, but there are a lot... I'd say that there are a lot more things that you do to take advantage of the mechanics that are being presented to you here.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Golden Ridge also an interesting level is because the speedrun for Chapter 3, for Chapter 4 is basically a whole lot of really small skips that are kind of risky. Taken all together, they can save you a lot of time, but it's pretty easy to lose time on this level as well. Mickeynow not getting that auto scroller high enough that he wanted, so it gets destroyed and he has to try it again. That's a pretty big time loss right there. Oh, very nicely done. That's like a full-blown auto-scroller skip right there.
Yeah, he makes up for it, definitely.
Yeah. Basically using the momentum of that block to get a hyper and then a bunny dash and then clear that huge gap without using the block.
It's a very nice momentum transfer.
In the elevator shaft sequence right now, We'll see how he handles this 4 hyper room over here. If he... Oh, it looks like he has learned the hypers, and he's going for it. And he got it.
Very nice.
DukeFireBird definitely has been learning some of the more advanced strats. I think at this point it's just a matter of, getting more of them down and to be more reliable with them. Here's another...
I think Mickeynow is definitely getting in a rhythm with things, because his movement in the last few rooms have been quite nice.
Nice. This auto-scroller is not really skippable, so you just have to be slow on that one. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, you could go for neutral jumps there, but in some cases it might just be easier to... this room is tricky.
All right, a narrow miss there. Doesn't get quite that wall bounce, but he got through it. I think Mickeynow is probably going to be trying to skip a cycle in this room. Oh, he missed jumping off that little post there. He's going for it now. Oh, okay, interesting.
Okay. Nicely done all the same.
He did get the cycle skip, though that order of dashes is a little different than I'm used to seeing. DukeFireBird now in the Oshiro fight. Let's see how he handles this. Doing a little bit of waiting there for Oshiro to pass. Takes a death. Ooh, Mickeynow now in the cliff face. A very heavy wind in this section, and we have these snowballs now that come from the right. Mickeynow taking some pain from those snowballs for sure. Alright, he's done. Nice, really nice ultra there through this screen transition to get him all the way to the second spring. And nicely done in that room as well. Mickeynow almost done now with Chapter 4. DukeFireBird in the last room of Chapter 3. This is... we didn't really go over this that much in the last for Mickeynow because he got through it pretty easily, but this last Oshiro room is actually really difficult, mainly because it's so long. And if you die in this screen, it can lose you tons and tons of time, especially if you die multiple times. DukeFireBird taking it really easy through that screen, but not taking any deaths, so really nice.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant time save over Mickeynow's go of it. I think Mickeynow only died once in that room, but that was still a pretty costly death.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they are actually a full chapter apart now. Mickeynow just getting started into Chapter 5, while DukeFireBird going right into Chapter 4 right behind him.
So probably not going to see a absurd upset in this race, but that's fine. I mean, these are group matches. We're not expecting every race of these to be close, so we'll just give our props to each of these runners for what they're doing and hope for a PB from each of them.
Movement so far in Chapter 5 has been really nice for Mickeynow.
Yeah, we saw Mickeynow go for... did you see exactly what strat he went for the bubble skip there?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's alright. There are multiple ways past that bubble.
A lot of this is just kind of happening right in front of my eyes.
Yeah, it's really hard to follow everything. So we can see some nice practice moves by Mickeynow getting through these rooms. Really nicely done.
Decides against the double bubble skip. I wouldn't be surprised if that's because he doesn't know how to do it, because probably not very many people do.
Yeah, that's like a top runner trick, and even though that's like still kind of a
that
meme
one
for them.
is just a meme.
I mean, I've seen okay, Star Cruncher is in chat right now, and I saw him get it on his first try, and that was insane.
Yeah, I guess that'll happen.
I'm always so impressed by that.
Now making pretty short work of the first section of Chapter 5.
Yeah, that was really great work from DukeFireBird, running out of stamina in that long room, but he uses the wind cycle to get back on track.
Goes for the casual strat for that room, which I can't really blame him for that, because you kind of only get one shot at that. Same thing will sort of go for this one, although I'd say for that room, the setup is just, in general, it's not really a one-time thing, but it's still really tricky.
Yeah. That room that he just took the auto-scroller in, if you want to do it optimally, you need to get a wall bounce from the transition.
Yeah.
And if you mess it up, then it might be worthwhile to just go the normal route instead.
Yeah, though I gotta say, if DukeFireBird, like, you know, well, there's not much of an if to it, since I imagine DukeFireBird is, you know, looking to improve his PV and, you know, improve at the game. I think one place that he could probably stand to start is doing those faster strats in those few rooms, because that can save a lot of time.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what happened on DukeFireBird's screen there. It looked like he went the wrong way out of that bubble.
Oh, he wasn't facing the wall. He tried to jump off the wall, but he wasn't facing it. I felt that so much.
You don't actually have to be facing the wall to get a wall jump off of it. But I guess maybe he moved like a pixel away from it.
Yeah, it's more that I think it's because he wasn't facing the wall that he started drifting away from it.
Oh, yeah, it's possible.
I don't know, for some reason, but what I imagine happened is that he was mashing that A button to jump, and he wasn't jumping.
Yeah. Mickeynow doing really nice work through this unraveling, getting through that last room of unraveling with no problems, which is a pretty difficult room. Dealing with these Seekers, we didn't really comment on it, but the Seekers can also hit the lock switches for you, so I think we probably saw some Seeker manipulation by him. Going now for Search Skip, the biggest single time save in the game.
Yeah.
Nicely done on his first try there.
It's fortunately very doable, even casually.
Yeah. It's basically mandatory, though, if you want to run this game, because it saves so much time.
Yeah, it effectively skips an entire section of the level.
Yep.
So yeah,
Mickeynow having a really good chapter 5 altogether.
Yeah.
About to enter the Theo section with less than 4 minutes on the clock.
I wouldn't be very surprised if Mickey's movement just keeps getting better as he's moving on through the game. Not only because he's getting more of a rhythm for it, and you know, like those nerves are starting to subside as he's moving onwards, but I think I also wouldn't be surprised if he's just in general practiced the latter chapters of the game more than the first few, which would, if nothing else, be a very smart option there.
Yeah, because most time save is in the later levels, which take a lot longer and therefore have a lot more time to save.
Ooh, that was probably a bit of a
here.
I would call that. You know what? We're just gonna call that all as planned. I think that's just how he normally does it.
Obviously intended.
Definitely not impromptu at all. Ooh, tries
nice
okay.
Boost out the dash
yeah,
block.
That's a good.
Not quite getting his way into the next room, but still managed to avoid the Seekers. Really nice movement from Mickeynow. This Theo section is pretty technically difficult because you can't dash while you're holding Theo, who you need to escort to the exit. So you have to do these, the speed tech and then catch him in midair in order to keep going quickly. Mickeynow, I don't think he got a single death in this whole Theo section.
Yeah, I really like how Mickeynow handled this. Handled chapter 5. You can definitely see. You can see that good intermediate players combination between safe and fast with a lot of those strats, because what you see aren't exactly the top strats, but they're still reasonably fast and they're very consistent.
Yeah, and Mickeynow finishing that chapter with 1 death and I think something like a 5:30 time, which is really, really good for Mirror Temple. Mickeynow really entering his game mode right now. Let's see how he does in Reflection, chapter 6. DukeFireBird, meanwhile, working his way through the end of chapter 4, almost done now. Getting his way through these last snowball rooms. Yeah, he missed that jump there. Mickeynow showing off the feather, not going for Lake Skip. So we'll see a Kevin block right here. You dash into its side, and it starts grumbling and moving in that direction.
Wow, that barely saves time at all, huh?
Lake Skip, yeah, it saves. If you can get it on the first try, it saves like 5 or 6 seconds.
It's just been a while since I've seen anyone do not Lake Skip, so I kind of forgot what it looked like.
Unless you're like really good at the game, honestly, Lake Skip is probably not worth going for, unless you've really done a ton of it. I mean, for me, Lake Skip is the kind of thing that I can get it a lot during practice, but during the actual run, like,
yeah,
it seems
maybe
to happen
better
a lot less
not
often.
Go for it.
Oh, Mickeynow struggling a little bit with the neutral jumps.
There you go.
He gets it. Oh. You're not supposed to be able to climb up that wall without using... feather on the left.
Okay. Right.
Really nice skip there by Mickeynow.
I briefly forgot how that strat worked, so I was like, what's he doing?
So he basically did a hyper off the Kevin to get that crumbling block out of the way in advance, so that the Kevin didn't have a chance to stop. So just a little bit of time save there. It's pretty tricky, but he did it really well.
Yeah, it took him an extra try, but that second try was very clean.
He might not have gained any time because he had to do it twice.
Then again, on his previous PB, he may have died once. We really have no idea.
Right. I mean, in terms of PB, who knows? It's an interesting thing to think about this game, that a lot of these speed strats, are really like risk reward. If you get them on the first try, then you save time. If you miss them once, then you might have lost time compared to the casual strat. Yeah.
The other thing to consider though is that time saves can be pretty minimal. Even the losses can be minimal. Like at most, you should expect to lose maybe half a minute from a single death.
Ooh, Mickeynow taking the top route here. That's an interesting choice. The bottom route, most people consider to be faster in RTA. Not bad through that room at all. Not too much spaghetti. I'm not sure he did it optimally enough to make it better than the bottom route.
That's a risky line right there, right at the end.
DukeFireBird took a death in that bubble skip the first time. On the second time, he opted to go for he waits a little bit for the platform to start rising, and then he hypers to get through that hallway. And he did it pretty nicely. Probably still saved time over taking the bubble. Mickeynow about to enter a room with some 3 pretty tough shortcuts. Let's see if he goes for them. The first 2 are fairly easy. Here's the first one.
Yeah, those first 2, as long as you hug the wall, are simple enough. This last one, not so much. Oh my goodness!
Going straight for the first one, and does a perfect job, and ends with a reverse wave dash on that little block of land. Just get through that room like totally optimally. Really nice.
Yeah, just in case you, at any point you didn't think Mickey's done his homework. He's here to show you a thing or two. Oh my goodness! Whoa,
that was interesting.
That's a bit of an
I thought he was gonna die there.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing, dude? He must have had that timed out.
Yeah, I'm sure that he's used to doing that. There were a lot of ways to gain a lot of speed out that Kevin at the very end. So Mickeynow now in the battle and fight. You could call her the main boss of the game, except there's a lot more to do after defeating her. This is the main story conflict of the game. You have to basically just run into her over and over again while she fires fireballs and lasers at you, avoiding all the other hazards in the environment. And as you keep hitting her, she'll retreat. She'll retreat back through the screen. She'll retreat back into new screens, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, and this will bring back the whole idea of death cycles again. Is because a lot of the time the patterns will differ from when you first enter the level and when you first spawn in the level upon dying. And I imagine it might be that in a couple of these cases, Mickeynow might end up opting to retry right at the beginning just to have that simpler death cycle, or at least simpler for him.
We'll see if he does that. I find that Chapter 6 cycles are a little easier to deal with than Chapter 3 for the entrance cycle, so we might just see him go all the way.
Okay, well.
That was unfortunate. Saw him try to use the momentum going through the screen transition to skip that bumper, but he ended up taking the death, so he had to do it the slower way. Really risky strat there. Basically have to get right in her face just as she's about to fire the laser in order to get that on the best cycle.
The strats in general from Mickeynow have been pretty risky, and they've been paying off pretty well so far.
Yeah, he's been having a pretty nice battle and fight so far. Not very much time lost at all. DukeFireBird now in the unraveling section, working through these lock switches.
You can always tell that someone's doing a decent battle and run when the music changes before it cycles.
Yeah. DukeFireBird now in the final, the second to last remove unraveling, baiting that Seeker. Here we go on the last one. This is a very difficult one. Let's see how he does it. So he did it in a way that somewhat bamboozled the Seeker. He's about to be attacked. Okay, nice bump at the end. It looks like he'll be able to finish with no problem.
Yeah, he navigates the Seeker pretty nicely there.
Yeah. Mickeynow in the final room of the battle and fight now. A pretty long room. If he can do this without dying, he'll be in real good shape. And he's in real good shape. Finishing the battle and fight at about 6:20 in chapter time. Looks to be on track to finishing this reflection with a sub 7, which is a great time for chapter 6. Mickeynow, it looks like he's going to be finishing up chapter 6.
He might be ahead of his PB with this.
28, which is actually giving him a huge chance to PB in Summit. I mean, a lot can happen in Summit, but...
All right, he's got a green timer. I think he's ahead of his PB right now.
He's definitely ahead of his PB. His PB, by the way, just to remind the chat, everyone, is 41:17. He is less than 28 right now, so he has more than 13 minutes to complete Summit in order to PB, which is not only extremely possible, it would be almost difficult to not get a sub 13.
Yeah.
Like he would have to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in order to not PB in this round, so let's keep an eye on that for sure.
Yeah, overall a very good set of chapter 5 and 6. I'd like to see his splits compared to his previous splits at some point. Not gonna...
Yeah, let's see if he posts them in the Discord later. He's having a really flawless 0 meters right now. Just moving with really optimal strats and not dying at all. No hesitation. Really impressed by Mickey's end game.
All right, and we got DukeFireBird jumping into the last section of chapter 5. Has a little.
Oh, apparently, Starkwrencher in the chat has said he is privy to Mickeynow's actual splits right now, and Starkwrencher says that he left Reflection with a -9.6, which is less than I would have expected. But it looks like Mickeynow has been practicing Summit a lot.
Yeah, it might have been that his last PB had a not so stellar Summit, which definitely can happen.
Yes, for sure.
Especially for the top runners, Summit is where the runs are made and lost.
Mickeynow having a really flawless Summit so far. It's really cool to see.
Careful.
Taking the fast route through those screens by not activating the ice blocks and just going around and under them to hit those springs. DukeFireBird, meanwhile, almost near the end of... Ooh, close call with the Seeker. Nice bunk there. Almost at the end of the Theo section, so he'll be moving to Chapter 6 pretty soon.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the lead between these players right now is basically insurmountable, but we could still see DukeFireBird get a nice PB.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, no!
Not getting any momentum at all off of that dash block. Mickeynow taking a little bit of a death in this room. It's not a very costly one, I don't think.
Playing a little bit fast and loose, but I think he feels like he can afford to.
Ooh, wow.
Let's hope he's right. Oh my
goodness. Incredibly close to the death pixel on that screen just there. If you go too low on the dash block, you actually die because of some weird misalignment in the floor. I think he might have missed that by just a pixel or two. Really, really fast movement from Mickeynow through these dash block section. I don't know if we've mentioned, Chapter 7, the Summit, is basically a rehash of all the previous chapters in order, starting with Chapter 6, then 1 through 5. So Mickeynow about probably about a third of the way.
He had a bit of a rough death in one room, but that 1000M was that was great.
So Mickeynow now up to definitely one of the most difficult parts of the game, of the enemy ascent run, the 1500 meters, the Chapter 3 section of Chapter 7. Doing okay so far. Taking a death in this long room, but only at the very beginning, so let's see. This is a very long room, very costly to die in. Let's see if we can get through it in one piece.
That said, once again, we have the death cycles to talk about, so it might have just been to his advantage that he took a death so early.
Ooh.
Pencil jumps. Oh, right.
So
right.
There is
we
a
got
platform.
That little crevice in the at the end.
Oh. Ooh. Dying to the stuff on the wall. Not getting his dashbacks like he wants. Those were pretty quick deaths, all considered. Doing the double ultras at the beginning. Oh, wow.
Doesn't go for the third one, but
recognizing
you know
at
what?
the last
That's
second
okay.
that he didn't have the speed to get the third one. So he actually saved himself there by slowing down a bit.
Did he do that on purpose?
I think he probably did. Maybe he's used to doing that.
Wasn't.
Wow. Close call on that death cycle. Taking the berry route underneath there for a shortcut.
Oh, wow. Gets it
Interesting
ultra on the
strat
second
there.
time. Well, the vertical hyper.
Ooh, narrow miss there.
Wow.
Really nicely done altogether through 1,500 meters. Just a couple deaths, and they were relatively not so costly.
Yeah, but he made me breathe a lot.
Yes. We're probably going to see another quick shortcut by Mickeynow here. Yep, taking this top route here, the strawberry route, because it's a little bit faster than taking the normal route. DukeFireBird.
I see that DukeFireBird is using digital input for his for the feather.
Oh, interesting.
He's also going for this strat, yeah.
It looks like DukeFireBird is not comfortable with neutral jumps yet, so he has to take a slightly slower route up that wall. Yeah. Mickeynow, really nicely done through that really long snowball room. That room could be a killer, but he got through it with no problem. At least none that I saw. Going for an auto-scroller skip. I'm not sure he got it. Nice, nice first try, and he got the second wall bounce.
Very nice.
That's a really nice auto-scroller skip. Saves a lot of time if you can get it right.
Okay, DukeFireBird is coming up pretty closely on probably the hardest feather to do with digital input. Hopefully he does. Hopefully it doesn't give him too much trouble. I imagine he's practiced it a little bit.
We'll see what he does. Definitely, I can see he's not really comfortable with like the extended hyper dashes and stuff so much yet. Opting for normal dashes.
Going for the bottom route here.
Interesting decision.
Sure
There are a lot of feathers here, which are a little bit slow.
Yeah, and it's also probably hard with his control style, but I guess it's what he's used to.
Yeah. What you're used to will usually be better than what you're not used to, even if it's not optimal technically. Ooh, Mickeynow taking an unfortunate death. Maybe another couple deaths in this long final room of 2,000 meters. Definitely not a room you want to die in. It's a lot of memorization as to where you need to hit that purple orb each time. Looks like he's going to get it this time. As long as he doesn't actually accidentally retry. Alright, we're good. 2,500 meters. Mickeynow on great pace still.
If he's practiced 2,500 as much as he's practiced Chapter 5 itself, we might see some pretty cool skips coming up here.
Yep.
Ooh, no!
Ooh, unfortunate. Doing a hyper dash accidentally instead of a jump dash and hitting those spikes. Not letting it bother him.
It looks like he meant to do a hyper dash, but it's more his positioning that gave him some trouble.
Okay. All right, nice second try, double wave dash. Let's see if he goes for key skip. He's going for key skip. Let's see.
Yeah, as long as you know what you're doing with that setup, you're fine.
He didn't get the transition setup, but he did get those two neutral wall jumps really fast. So that key skip definitely saved him some time. DukeFireBird on his way down, going to reach the battle in section pretty soon. Let's see if he goes for these little shortcuts. I'm suspecting he might take the casual route through this level. Oh, he's taking the first shortcut. He's taking the second shortcut. Nicely done. I expect he'll...
Oh, is he going for the third?
Oh, wow. Nicely done. He got all three shortcuts.
Casual route who? Never heard of it.
That last shortcut is really tricky to get and really risky too without taking the checkpoint. So nicely done to DukeFireBird for that for sure. Mickeynow, by the way,
I totally wasn't even looking at Mickeynow. Did he do?
He did not do door skip. He skipped door skip.
Whatever. What's door skip anyway?
I think he might know that he's on serious PB pace right now, and he does not want to lose several seconds to failing door skip.
We don't need door skip around here.
So I'm just going to say Mickeynow is on pace for a multiple minute PB. So let's see how he does through this last section of Summit. Really nice start. Anyway, so this last section of Summit, 3,000 meters, is its own really long section of the level. We're going to have 30 flags that count down. He's up to 28 now, I believe, or 27. Oh, nice wall jump off that hidden wall there. So we have the down traps now for Mickeynow. The wind is pushing him downwards, so he has to deal with a little more weight pushing down on him.
Yeah, and that extra weight does make actually does make a lot of his tech faster, which makes this pretty fun for speedrunners, but perhaps a little bit more dangerous for those less experienced. Ooh. You'll also just you'll also just suddenly hit the spikes a lot more often.
Wow, that was so he skipped that flag. So
and
he died
it again.
Yeah, if he had died at any of those points, he would have gone back and missed a lot of progress. But he did get it on that next try. So
this is no time to be scared.
Mickeynow almost done now with downdraft. Getting through those dash crystals, on his way now to updraft.
Meanwhile, we have DukeFireBird in the battle end section.
About halfway through it, I'd say.
Yeah. Playing it pretty safe so far, but effectively so, I'd say.
Mickeynow coming up to the some of the hardest flags in the updraft section.
You better not
really
die
nicely
to that.
done.
No!
Oh, wow.
Come on, dude!
He had that.
Oh, I'm sorry,
he totally
man.
had that.
That's my fault.
So yeah, stamina can become a problem on this last one. I think he might have just stopped pressing right a little bit too early on that one. And he just barely grazed the spike. Not letting it face him at all. It can be pretty easy to get tilted in this last section if you die, but Mickeynow just rolling with the punches and getting right back on the horse. Flawless flag 13, which is another really hard one. Flawless flag 11. Oh wow, that wall bounce. I haven't seen that before.
Vertical hyper just because he can.
Oh wow, this is
goes for the diagonal
really good movement from Mickeynow.
That's
oh
no,
a little bit too high. That updraft pushed him a little higher than he wanted to go.
His luck caught up with him.
DukeFireBird in the last third of the battle end section where she starts throwing blocks around. So almost done with chapter 6 now. Mickeynow about to get out of updraft. Mickeynow now on the final screen of the game with a sub 40 in reach.
Let's see if he can make it happen.
It
would have to be
yep. Great flag 4.
There you go. Just have to not lose your nerve now.
Great flag 3.
He skips the flag 2 and goes back and gets
He's going back for it. No chances there.
Yeah, and perhaps for the best.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, having a little trouble here with his dash reset. He's, okay, interesting, he got it. Oh no. They've been having a lot of trouble on flag 2 here. Might put that sub 40 out of reach. I think the sub 40 is probably out of reach. Let's see what happens. But still a huge PB.
Yeah, it's looking like a low
there goes
40.
the 40. But still incredibly done. With a
very nicely
more
done
than a
with
minute
40.05.
40.05. Fantastic BB by Mickeynow. More than a minute. You know, sub 40. You know, it's an arbitrary.
What is time anyway?
Right. I mean, we only use the 40s base 10.
Look,
because
the only reason we have any reason to be disappointed, the only reason we have to be disappointed about a sub 40 is some guy a long time ago decided that there should be 60 seconds in a minute.
Right. And with that, we can turn our attention to DukeFireBird as he has finished up the battle and fight. Moving now through the resolution, and with his about 2 dashes now, and he'll be joining the summit very soon. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, we're getting into the we're getting into the final section of the game, is what I meant to say. DukeFireBird taking perhaps a moment to compose himself, which is just fine because this is IGT timed. If you need a little bit of a moment to take a couple breaths between levels, that's a-okay. Panics a little bit, I'd say, with that trampoline section. Gonna give it another go. And second time, no problem. Skips that first crystal, who needs it? Ooh, just barely gets past that that other section, though. Zero meters, just about in the books for DukeFireBird. Very nicely done. And we move on to 500M.
The Chapter 1 section. I thought he was going to go for that wall bounce there, but guess not. I'm gonna go ahead and invite Mickeynow to join us.
Sounds
if
great.
If he wishes for an interview.
DukeFireBird having a little bit of trouble with that section, but gets through without a death. Ooh, misses the jump there. Oh no, it's just he's a little bit low. He'll get it next time. He's got it.
All right, Mickeynow will be joining us here in a minute or so.
All right, sounds good. In the meantime, DukeFireBird just about finishing up with 500M. So far, relatively clean 0 and 500. In sub 45 minutes. We'll see how he handles Chapter 2. With these dream blocks, we do have that extra... we do have a lot of dashing going on because of that dash restoration property that the dream blocks have.
A little bit of skitty there with the dash directions, but he ended up...
Goes ahead and regroups and handles it very nice the second time around. Oh, just barely misses that trampoline. This room could definitely be tricky, but he gets it second time without a problem.
And I don't want to speak too early here, too, but just based on the PB of DukeFireBird, which is 1:03, 1 hour and 3 minutes, and his current time, I think he might also be on track for a really substantial PB.
It's certainly possible.
Ooh, losing both of his dashes in this room, unfortunately, you can't really come back from that. You just have to fall to the bottom.
Yeah, this room can definitely be tricky if you don't have the rhythm for it, and
that too.
Both jumps at any point.
Unfortunately, losing his dash accidentally on the wall meant he could not complete that room there. And he got it. Final room of 1,000 meters. Whew, taking that diagonal dash through the dream blocks. Actually, as long as your hitbox is touching one of those dream blocks, it's fine. So you can get through those diagonal corners, even though it doesn't really look realistic. and now in the probably the hardest section, at least many people consider it to be. So we'll see how he handles this part. Slowly and steadily so far.
Yep.
Hey guys.
Hello, Mickey.
Hey, Mickey.
Congrats on the
Congrats
PB
on that
and
PB.
a very nice run overall.
Thank you.
That was
Yeah,
a
I was
fantastic
surprised.
end game, man.
I really didn't expect to PB today, considering I haven't played for a few days. So that was a
That
nice
happens.
surprise.
It does happen. It's a weird thing sometimes where, I don't know, maybe...
When you give
I don't know what
when
the
you give your muscle,
explanation is,
it's mostly like because this game has so much muscle memory to it. When you give those muscles a chance to rest and process all the practicing you've done, sometimes you can come back to it just like ready to tackle all the things that you've been working on, and like now you can start focusing on new strats that you have to work on because all the old strats that you've got, down a lot more.
DukeFireBird not taking the berry for that shortcut, but still getting through that other room pretty quickly. He's had a pretty successful 1,500 meters, considering how hard this section is. So, Mickeynow, congrats on your win. Congrats on your PB. Really close to a sub 40.
Yeah, really, like, when I got to the top of the mountain, I finally decided to look at my time. I was like, what the hell?
Did you have any particular goals coming into this tournament?
Improving my time, mostly trying to get sub 38-ish.
Okay.
Nice. It's definitely possible for you, just watching the way you play. I mean, that was a really great... I'm not sure how you felt about it, but I felt like your chapter 5, 6, and 7 were all really good.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I put a lot of practice into those lately, so I guess it kind of shows.
Yeah, it really did. Very nice.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of questions as we see Duke rolling along in 2000M.
Probably not going for the autos. Oh, I think he
Ooh.
might have went for it, but didn't have his inputs down there. Let's see if he goes for it a second time. Nope. Ooh. Taking a couple deaths here on this auto scroller. So Mickeynow, how are you doing in your group?
I have 2 losses, and this is my first victory, so still got a
you've got
people to race.
some races to go.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I have TGH to race as well, so
Oh,
this
boy.
should be
Oh,
interesting, I guess.
Well, sure will.
racing against TGH is
thing.
it's a little bit harrowing. I mean, I guess you don't really have to be so worried about whether you win or lose, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just try to get that PV again.
Yeah, you cannot have any expectations playing.
It's certainly a
against
reason to push
TGH.
yourself.
You can try not to do too badly, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, if you even remember, what was your first PB for Celeste? Do you want to ballpark it or anything, or is it even that beyond your memory?
I think it was around an hour, 11 minutes or something.
How long ago was that, if you have any recollection?
Maybe I would say more than 2 months.
Okay. So how have you felt about your progress so far since you started the game?
I'm
Since you
pretty
started
happy with
running?
it, I gotta say, but I'd like to put more time into the game to get better faster, but this is pretty hard to do.
Yeah, especially at times.
Oh,
That's an accidental corner boost. Oops. Oh
that was
dear.
insane.
Did you now? We did talk about time goals, but did you have any certain tricks that you were eyeing up, in order to get your, like upcoming goals? Were there any tricks that you weren't doing, or you don't feel like you're very good at that you wanted to practice and improve at?
Not specific tricks, like maybe the ultra and Chapter 3 Summit, some stuff like that.
Oh
but
yeah,
no.
so you did get the first 2 ultras, but we saw that I guess you recognized at the end you didn't have quite enough speed there, so you saved yourself pretty nicely.
Yeah, I always tend to choke on that part, so I expect it.
It's really good skill to recognize when you can't get it and not take the death.
Yeah, I'm already happy that I get the first part of that trick, so I'm not too worried about the second one.
The first part of the trick was very nicely done.
I feel like there's stuff much more.
A door skip.
DukeFireBird
Okay,
going
then.
for door skip.
Nice.
Oh my god!
First try. Wow.
He saved that second over Mickey there.
I think we can see where all of. I'm just kidding. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry.
Door skip is a fun trick for to do for the fans.
It's a party trick.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Oh no.
Really costly death there. In this final room of 2,500 meters, a death there is really costly just because the room is so long.
Drops a little bit.
Having some trouble here. I want to say that DukeFireBird is still on track for a sub-hour. Ooh, close calls there.
I think he's panicking a little bit.
And
there you go.
He's through. As long as he doesn't accidentally retry. Alright, we're good. That's always a danger at the end of these summit sections, is to accidentally retry instead of waiting for the cutscene.
Oh, yeah, that's certainly something to be concerned with.
Don't hit that cutscene skip until you can see the whites of both Madeline and Madeline's eyes. Entering now the last section of Summit. Going for that PB, that big PB.
We'll have to see how risky he decides to play this last section, especially with the downdraft. I think risky play can be pretty challenging to do.
Taking all of those upward diagonal dashes instead of horizontal dashes, a little bit slower, but just making sure
Much
that
safer.
he can get through it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
So close. Okay.
Just your dash is back, dude. There you go.
You got a little bit flustered there, you could tell, but like sort of not landing on those wooden platforms, but he got it. It can be a little frustrating in this section how like climbing up walls and jumping and stuff does not give you nearly as much distance as it usually does.
All right, going into the updraft section, sub 55.
So Mickey, your sub 40 will be coming any day now, I think. This would have been a sub 40 for you. It's just
there are honestly way too many things to consider. That that's something that's actually, I want to go ahead and say that's kind of a pitfall that you want to avoid. Is thinking
true.
like, oh, this could have been a sub this if if I hadn't, like that.
Yeah,
true. That's something that can definitely keep you from improving by forcing you to.
Especially if you just focus on those last mistakes in 3,000 meters.
If you focus on those things, then that'll take away from your practice on what where you can really save time.
Right. Ooh, close. All right, nice flag 13 there. That's a 10.
It's so far been a pretty clean 3000M for DukeFireBird.
Yeah, he's doing quite well.
Please don't make me suffer for saying that. Please.
Well, he did just get that checkpoint.
It's like he heard me.
So it's barely a time loss. That's flag 6. DukeFireBird well on his way to a sub-minute.
These last few sections could definitely give him some grief if he hasn't practiced them adequately. And even if he has, they can still be really annoying.
Nicely done.
There you go.
This might be tricky for him because he's using
Because of that digital input, yeah.
Doing all right so far.
Careful, not lose your nerve.
All right, flag 2. Nicely done on flags 3 and 4. Ooh, he doesn't have that dash. Oh wait, dropping back down for the dash crystal. Uh-oh. He dashed twice there. Doing it correctly that second try. Flag 1.
Oh.
This is going to be enormous.
Yeah. It's not quite a sub 58, but my goodness.
That's it.
That's a sub hour and then some.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's just see.
58:02.
His previous PB was a 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 14 seconds. So that is a more than 5-minute PB.
So wow, very, very nicely done from both sides.
DukeFireBird, I bet, is pretty happy about this right now.
Well, we got a little bit of time. Maybe we could see about pulling him in for a quick interview.
Yep.
And
we
here
have about
he is.
10 minutes.
Well, hello there.
Hey!
Hey! So there's a sub hour.
Yeah!
Congrats.
Not even bothering with 59.
Wow.
That's a more than 5-minute PB for you, right?
Not expecting a sub hour this on my third race. I was not expecting that.
GG, man. That's really
Thanks.
cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, aside from the obvious, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this run overall?
Well, honestly, it could have been better.
That's fair.
I mean,
But they always could be. So maybe we could be a little bit more specific.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, my Golden Ridge wasn't that very good. In fact, I went from 14 seconds behind to 49 seconds ahead. But then I brought it back down with Mirror Temple. So I honestly think it's my consistency. It's getting a lot better.
That's great, man. GG. 5-minute PB. Really impressive. Gotta feel good to get your first sub hour there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Seeing that improvement coming in. All right. Yeah. That was really fun to watch.
You guys definitely made an entertaining show. So, Duke, you've got another run coming up pretty soon.
Yes, I do.
Against
Get that,
Sushi.
get that the next PB, man.
Sub
Get the
55 coming right up.
I'm gonna go for a sub 57 right now.
Sub 57, that's fair. That's fair.
Right
yeah, I better to keep it realistic.
Baby steps, as we call it.
Yeah.
Did you have any particular goals for the tournament coming into this?
Sub 50 was my ultimate goal.
Sub 50. Okay. Well, you've definitely taken a step toward that.
Yeah, definitely. Considering 3 races and 3 PBs, so I'm on the right track. So.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So did you have any? Were there any? I suppose strategies, tricks, sections of the run that you were thinking you wanted to practice in particular? Like looking forward from here.
Probably still reflection battling.
Reflection battling. Okay, that's definitely fair.
Trying to get that one down because I know I still got a few deaths in there, but it's a lot lower than it used to be. So
certainly true. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for us.
Yeah. So let me just say. Okay, so GG to both runners. Thanks for racing for us. That was great. Thanks to all the watchers. Thanks to Speed Gaming. Coming up, I think at 7, we have some FF1 Rando. I believe that's going to be the top 4 match, so that might be pretty exciting.
Well, that'll be interesting.
We also have more Celeste coming up at 7.
That's going to be DukeFireBird versus M Sushi. That'll be over on Speed Gaming 4. If you want to catch
that'll
some
be pretty hype.
Of that.
Speed Gaming 5 will have Steaky versus Chocolate, and then one more race at 10 p.m. on Speed Gaming 3 with YP from who raced at GDQ. So that could be fun as well. There's all kinds of other stuff going on the Speed Gaming channel, so don't change that dial, or if you do, change it to another Speed Gaming channel because you got to get those. Got to watch those speed games.
Gotta watch them play super fast. Okay, have a wonderful evening.
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks for commentary, GG Mickey.
Congrats on the PB to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I saw you got a PB as well, so GG.
All right, and good night.
Oh yeah, and follow the runners.
Oh, of course.
Dropping those links in chat.
Best of luck in your upcoming race, Duke.
Yes, good luck to you, man.
Thank you.
All right. And good luck to both of you in all of your upcoming races and the group matches. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.